modeling for?
A Makevr system is the software and a 6-sense 2-tracker stem system. So it's the software and the hardware.
I see.
Are you going to win one?
Sure.
Cool.
I have to fill out a form to win one?
I think so.
What do you use it for?
Okay.
Is that terrible?
No. That's a fine question. In fact, that's the right question.
Okay.
So, as you look around the floor here, you see a lot of 3D printers.
Sure.
Doing away printing stuff. And you see a lot of people that probably want to be able to print things.
Yes.
Right? Probably most of the people here.
Yes.
But unless you're an experienced modeler, you've used Max or Maya or AutoCAD or Blender or SketchUp, it's going to be very difficult, for the average consumer to be able to generate content that can send off to a 3D printer.
Right.
Because, first of all, there's the cost of the tools. Some of the professional tools can be pretty expensive.
Sure.
There's also a learning curve on all these things. And if, say for instance, the people that want to do this aren't 3D gamer, they don't do modeling, they don't play video games. Even just interacting with 3D content could be difficult.
I'm learning about that.
Right.
Because I'm playing with Unity.
Yeah, good luck with that. So, if you're a jewelry maker or a painter or a sculptor, or college student, high student, and you want to make things but you don't have the tools, how do you do that? So expensive, they can be difficult to learn. Steep learning curves in a lot of these tools, and they're just not intuitive. Like, I'm playing with my saber here. I like sabers. So if say that I'm using a regular interface, a mouse and keyboard, which is a 2D interface for interacting with 3D content. How would I be able to rotate this thing around so I can look at it from all the angles that I can do here just by turning my wrist with a mouse? It could take. I might have to rotate it this way, then flip it this way, then twist it that way, and then where here I just grab it and I turn my wrist with either hand, just like I'm holding it in real life. So that's what this is in a nutshell. It is a modeling application designed to open access, if you will, for the 3D print market for consumers, for people that don't have the experience. So the interface is extremely natural and intuitive to use. Two hands operating independently at all times. These cursors you see represent my hands. They're me in the environment. And they're all the time, they're always independent. I have 6 degrees of control, so I can move them up, down, left, right, back, forth, in, out, anywhere I want to go. Getting around the scene is really easy. I just grab a point in space and physically drag it to a new point in space. In, out, up, down, left, right. And
how
just
do you
move it.
How do you get the objects in? You draw those?
They can be imported. They can be built in here. This I just built in here using primitives and just cut them up and scale them, etc. So navigating around is really simple.
When you say using primitives?
Primitives like these. Okay.
I see. So you joined them.
Yeah, you join them, you cut them, you scale them.
I see.
Because Makevr is built on an industry standard CAD engine. So all the functionality is there to be able to do things like slices and rules. I can take this shape here and start cutting it into this, etc. So it's just very natural, very intuitive.
Interesting.
Everything just, works like you would expect it to. So all that functionality is built in, so you can start with that and start with the primitives and start modifying them.
Can you import them too?
Yes. So like this iPhone case here. Was an imported file.
What format?
This is it's an SAT, .SAT. It's a solid modeling format that we use. Which for the 3D printing industry really works because it allows me to do things like I did to this object here. And then if I go to a wireframe and look at that, it's very cleanly stitched together. So this can go straight to a printer without needing any cleanup or post-production. So importing objects like this phone case is a really good way to start. And I'll show you this. This is a iPhone 4S phone case derived off of that blank we were just looking at. This was done, created, modified in like 15 minutes by our CEO's 11-year-old daughter. It took her that long because it was her first time in here. She had to get used to moving around a little bit, you know, and the rotating, the scaling. But when she got accustomed to it, she grabbed a sphere and just started poking holes in it. And you know, when we look at this in wireframe, you can see how clean that is, and how that doesn't need to be modified at all before it goes right to the printer. And you know, where it gets really interesting is, especially with the kids, you know, 11-year-olds. Typically, you know, if they have access to like a creative modeling tool and they're in here doing these things, you know, up until what, maybe about, you know, like 6 months ago, when they shut off the monitor or turned off the computer, their object went away. It was gone. When she created this, we sent it to the printer in our office. We have a couple of small little printers. When she came in the next day, this was standing in the printer and it was done. So what she created, she was able to hold in her hand. You know, in the real world, she could hold it. She could put her phone in it, you know, take it to school, and she showed all her friends. So you route it to the printer from this whole scene. Yeah. So how do you do that? Okay, you select this item, for instance. Bring up my menu. Okay. Go to my 3D print panel, and here we save it as an STL, which is the format that the printers want. Right. And we can also send it to Shapeways if you're familiar with Shapeways. Okay. That opens up the Shapeways website right over the window here, and at that point, my stem controller becomes a mouse cursor. So I can upload my model right to their page. You know, scroll through the available materials and pricing options, and then hit print. But if you have your own printer, you can just send that right to your printer. Cool. Through any of these buttons here. These are still being configured. Right. So it's not fully baked yet. Okay. Nice. Very good. Thank you. You are very welcome. So Makevr makes the tools to draw out some shapes and then drop them off to the printer. So these were actually created using their toolkit, meaning the remotes and the basic shapes, and playing around, and sort of easier interface for the kids, the young'uns. Good enough. Okay, so you told.
So let me just try these ones first.
Okay.
Let me just see which ones are working.
All right. Yeah, I want to, because I can't use both because I have...
Let's try these guys.
Okay.
Excuse me, can I try these and then we'll let you try them, okay?